Imagine putting your life savings, every penny you've ever earned, into something promised to be as safe as a bank account. A digital dollar, stable, immune to the chaos of the markets. Now imagine waking up one morning and it's all gone. Not just diminished, but gone. That's what happened to millions in May 2022 when a cryptocurrency empire built on the promise of stability, named Terra, collapsed in a cataclysmic implosion, wiping out an estimated $40 to $60 billion in a matter of days. For people like Yuri Popovich, a Ukrainian man who lost his entire $10,500 life savings, it wasn't just numbers on a screen. It was everything. So what was Terra? At its heart, Terra wasn't just one cryptocurrency, but two. TerraUSD, or UST, and its volatile sibling, Luna. UST was what's known as an algorithmic stablecoin. The idea was simple, yet revolutionary. UST was designed to always be worth exactly $1, not by holding actual dollars in a bank, but through a complex dance with Luna, orchestrated by a computer program, an algorithm. This ambitious vision was the brainchild of Do Kwon, the charismatic co-founder and CEO of Terraform Labs. He painted a picture of a decentralized financial utopia, a new kind of money, impervious to traditional banking woes. But beneath the surface, a fundamental flaw lurked, a ticking time bomb waiting for the slightest tremor to unleash devastation. For years, Kwon's vision seemed unstoppable. The Terra ecosystem exploded in popularity. In early 2022, Luna's value soared, reaching nearly $120 per token in April. The combined market capitalization of Terra's assets swelled to over $40 billion. What fueled this meteoric rise? A significant part of it was the Anchor protocol, a lending platform within the Terra ecosystem. Anchor offered an almost unbelievable annual percentage yield, or APY, of up to 20% on UST deposits. Think about that, 20% on a stable dollar, in a world where traditional savings accounts offered less than 1%. It was an irresistible magnet. People poured their money in, convinced they had found a safe haven for exponential growth. Before the crash, an astonishing nearly 75% of UST's total circulating supply was locked away in Anchor, a single point of failure that would prove catastrophic. Do Kwon, the king of the lunatics as his fervent followers called themselves, became a larger-than-life figure, dismissing critics with cutting remarks and a boundless confidence that bordered on hubris. He was building an empire, and everyone wanted a piece. But how was this stability maintained without actual dollars? It was all about the sophisticated, yet ultimately fragile, relationship between UST and Luna. Picture it like a seesaw. If UST's price dropped below $1, the system allowed users to swap their discounted UST for $1 worth of Luna. This process burned the UST, reducing its supply and, in theory, pushing its price back up to $1. Conversely, if UST went above $1, users could swap $1 worth of Luna to mint new UST, increasing supply and bringing the price back down. This constant act of arbitrage, where traders profit from small price differences, was supposed to keep UST perfectly pegged. But here's the fatal flaw. The entire mechanism relied on Luna holding its value. Luna was the shock absorber. If a massive amount of UST was suddenly sold, forcing the system to mint an equally massive amount of Luna to maintain the peg, Luna's price would plummet. It was a house of cards. If the foundation, Luna, started to crack, the entire structure, including UST, would come crashing down. It depended entirely on confidence, and that confidence was about to shatter. The cracks in this seemingly impenetrable system weren't entirely new. A year before the cataclysm, in May 2021, UST had briefly depegged. It was a tremor, a warning shot across the bow, coinciding with Luna's market capitalization nearing UST's aggregate value and withdrawals from Anchor. But the market recovered, and the warning was largely ignored. The sheer concentration of UST in Anchor protocol, nearly 3/4 of its entire supply, was another glaring vulnerability. It was like putting all your eggs in one very tempting but very fragile basket. Even Do Kwon himself, perhaps sensing the inherent risks, had initiated a proposal to gradually decrease Anchor's unsustainable 19.5% interest rate, beginning on May 1st, 2022. But it was too little, too late. The system, propped up by high yields and unwavering belief, was a powder keg, waiting for a spark. That spark ignited on May 7th, 2022. In a single day, over $2 billion worth of UST was withdrawn from Anchor Protocol. Large sell orders hit the market, and UST, the supposed stablecoin, began to slip. It fell to approximately 98 cents. The seesaw was tilting, but no one could imagine how violently it would swing. By May 9th, panic had set in. The depegging became severe, with UST plummeting to as low as 60 cents. The algorithm, in a desperate attempt to restore the peg, began minting Luna at an unprecedented, terrifying rate. Trillions of new Luna tokens flooded the market, hyperinflating its supply. Luna's price, which had been nearly $120 just weeks before, crashed towards zero. The Luna Foundation Guard, a consortium tasked with shoring up UST's peg, scrambled, deploying over $1.5 billion in Bitcoin reserves. But it was a futile effort, a finger in a breaking dam. The death spiral had begun. On May 12th, the Terra blockchain was temporarily halted, not once, but twice, by its validators, a desperate measure to prevent further chaos. Luna, the backbone of the entire ecosystem, was now worth fractions of a cent, effectively worthless. Major global exchanges began delisting Luna and UST pairs. The dream had become a nightmare, and the empire, once valued at over $40 billion, lay in ruins. The fallout was immediate and devastating, far beyond mere numbers on a screen. For millions of ordinary investors, the collapse of Terra and Luna was a life-altering catastrophe. Yuri Popovich, who we met earlier, saw his $10,500 life savings dwindle to a mere $106. He contemplated suicide, already having lost his apartment in Donetsk to conflict years prior. A 69-year-old pensioner lost savings accumulated over 2 decades of 80-hour work weeks. A cancer patient, having lost their job, invested a $50,000 insurance payout, only to see it vanish. On online forums like r/TerraLuna, desperate posts flooded in, with users sharing stories of losing hundreds of thousands, even their homes. Moderators were forced to pin helpline numbers. Even experienced financial figures like Raoul Pal, CEO of Real Vision, admitted to losing $134 million in 4 days, describing it as the worst 4 days of my life. The tragedy was compounded by research suggesting that wealthier, more sophisticated investors were often the first to exit, incurring smaller losses. It was the poorer, less sophisticated individuals, often attempting to buy the dip in a desperate hope for recovery, who suffered the greatest losses. The contagion spread, contributing to the collapse of other major crypto entities like the lending firm Celsius and the crypto hedge fund 3 Arrows Capital, causing hundreds of billions more in market losses. And Do Kwon, the architect of this collapsed empire, after months on the run, he was arrested in Montenegro in March 2023, attempting to travel with falsified documents. He now faces charges of securities fraud, commodities fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy, with a projected 15-year prison sentence in the U.S. The king of the lunatics had fallen, and his kingdom with it. The collapse of Terra and Luna stands as a stark, chilling reminder of the perils lurking within the unregulated frontiers of finance. It was a story of unchecked ambition, a fundamental design flaw, and the seductive, yet ultimately hollow, promise of effortless wealth. The idea of an algorithmic stablecoin was a grand experiment, but one built on a foundation of shifting sand. When the confidence shattered, the house of cards crumbled, leaving a trail of ruined lives and shattered dreams. The promise of a decentralized utopia turned into a centralized disaster, orchestrated by one man's hubris and paid for by millions. It forces us to ask, how many more such stable promises will turn out to be nothing more than an elaborate illusion? And what lessons, if any, will the world truly learn from the ashes of this $60 billion catastrophe? The search for answers continues.